You've got a curriculum to teach. You got to teach it. Your kids have to learn it. When they go home, their parents have them enrolled in extracurricular and they're expected to do those things. But when they get home, they want to play video games. And many of us see it as a waste of time. But children need downtime, right? And so if they're so busy with school and they're so busy with all the extracurricular activities, even if they love it, they need to just not think for a little while. Even though video games does require a sort of higher level thinking, doesn't it? But because of all these expectations, parents complain at home that their kids aren't doing anything besides video games, and at school we're complaining about the fact that we've got behavior management issues. But what do we do instead? When they're in school, we try to throw more engaging activities their way. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it's like a band-aid and it works for a short while, but it's not a long-term plan for us. So what is that long-term plan? Today we're going to be looking at one form, which is agency. We're going to give them some agency over their learning, be it at home or in school. But since you're a teacher and you're probably trying to think about, I have no control over them at home, we're going to give you a little bit of control over their home life and a lot more in class. So the one way that you're going to help them gain some agency is by teaching them about goal setting. So not in the most boring, mundane way of, oh, let's do this again, but we're going to find a way to make it interesting for them, because it's going to help their motivation and confidence rise as they achieve, and it's going to lower some of the behavior management issues. And when they do hit failure, which they will, you're going to be there to support them, because that's what you do. You're a teacher. So let's get right into the steps. The first step is to be creative. So here they're going to need some time, because this is more of an artsy kind of thing. They're going to create a collage of all of their goals. So it could be, they could draw. Some kids don't like to cut and paste, or they could cut and paste from a magazine. But whatever it is they want, they create that collage. You're going to take that collage, put it up on a bulletin board so that they can see it every single time. They're reminded of their goals. But it's a beautiful visual reminder, because really, who wants to sit there and read every single thing of everybody's, right? So they are going to be reminded of their goals in this way. And then you could take it a step further and possibly scan it or take a picture of it and send it to their parents or them, and depending on their age, and then have them print it out at home and post it where they can see it, so that they're always reminded of their goals either at home or at school. That's step number one. Step two is find your focus. So what they're going to do here is we're going to have our children take 2 goals, not every one of them, because that becomes too much. So just 2 goals, one for their school life, one for their home life. This is where you're going to have a little bit of control over their home life. Not too much, but a little bit. So they're going to choose one of each, and they're going to, at this point, chunk it down into smaller parts. And then they're going to actually slot it in. Now, I've created a planner so that they can actually do this. It's guided, so they actually do this, and it helps with your teaching as well. I will link to it in the description so that you can download it and teach it at your leisure. But they're going to essentially take these 2 big goals, chunk it up, slot it into their calendar, and they're going to be tracking it. You're going to track it with them, okay? But you're going to be tracking it, not like sitting there watching them do it, but you're actually going to track it over time, when you want to do it as an assessment form for yourself. So that is their second part. The third section is they are going to connect with goals. So what you're going to do here is now is when we start motivating our kids in different ways beyond just internal motivation. So we look at putting your children, not putting them first, but actually having them write down their why. Why do I want to accomplish these 2 goals? Why did I choose these goals? Why are they meaningful for me? So they're going to create a poster about these 2, and then they're going to take this and you're going to group them into groups of 3 or 4, and they're going to share their whys, their big whys, with their peers. Once they've done that, it first holds them, it holds them accountable to each other, because now they're hearing about each other's goals, and therefore they do need to accomplish it and take action. But you could take it a step further and have these groups be more permanent. So they create accountability groups where they can meet in class time, either once a week or once a month, depending on your time frame as well. and you're going to have them sit down together, share their accomplishments over time, so that, and also their next step, so that they hold each other accountable for their work. That's, going beyond intrinsic motivation to extrinsic motivation. All right, so we're doing both. The next step is party it up. This is extrinsic motivation, of course. So you're going to have your children say, okay, we're going to choose rewards now, because you can't just work, work, work and have nothing there, especially if it's a big goal and you've accomplished a few small things, but you're seeing no results. It starts to weigh down on a person. So what you're going to do instead is have them have small rewards in between. It could be, I don't know, eat a piece of chocolate, because I like chocolate, right? Really, I do. I'm not kidding. See, I like chocolate. But they're going to they could eat a piece of chocolate, they go have some tea, whatever it is that excites them. They could do a little dance, doesn't matter. That's their small reward. And then as a class, you're going to look at what's a big reward that we can all agree upon that we're going to do when we've all accomplished one or two of our goals. Well, let's go with one goal first. And if it's a party, then you have a party. If it's going out and having a picnic, that's what you do. But you all agree upon it. And yes, you can change it, because your students' ideas are going to change over time. You can change these goals over time. But what you could do in the meantime is use this as a way of reminding them, hey, we accomplished this goal. This is what we're going to be getting. And that's another form of motivation. So it's exciting. It's exciting them over time, right? So you've got different ways of teaching it to them, different ways of motivating them. Next week, we're going to actually learn how to build that habit in more interesting ways, so that they're actually wanting to keep going, all right, with their goals. So let's recap really quickly. What we've talked about was, we looked at the importance of teaching our children about goal setting, and really how it also benefits you in your classroom with behavior management. We've also looked at the fact that there are different resources that you can use to teach your children about goal setting. There's also a resource for you as a teacher that you could use to work on your goals alongside your students. And then we've also got step number 3, where we've looked at 4 different strategies to help your children through this process. The first one is be creative. The second was find your focus. The third one was about connect with your goals. And the fourth one was party it up. All right? So if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. In the meantime, remember to create, experience, and teach from the heart. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again, same place, same time. Take care.